first thing I'm going to show you is just like a really easy approach to what tuning you're going to use on slide. And then we'll explore some more techniques and styles. So let's get into sliding. First of all, here's an easy hack for you. And this is basically kind of like a fake open tuning. So we're going to leave the guitar just as we normally have it tuned, but you're going to take this first string and tune it down a whole step. So you're going to tune it down to a D. So everything's normal. So all your chords are normal. But this string is down. And what that does is it gives you this sound here. That sound is like a minor third. It's kind of like this sound here, which is a really useful interval, and it sounds like this on the slide. So that really useful kind of like almost like a harmony. That shape is really useful, and it's a great part of kind of slide playing. And that's really the main advantage. Those top 4 strings are like that in open G, and then they drop these 2 strings a whole step as well. But you don't really need to do that. Then you can play all your normal chords. Okay, so let's get into the fundamentals. So let's talk technique. So the key to slide playing, it's all in your hand positioning and pressure. So basically, when you're playing single notes, the slide has to be directly over the fret. And usually you want to just vibrato it back and forth a little bit, right over the fret. And then the other thing is you don't really want to apply a lot of pressure. You don't really press down. What you do is you just hover the slide. You set the slide on the strings like this. And then you're just going to, don't press down. You're just going to use the weight of the slide to kind of get that connection. So it's just going to kind of hover there over the strings. And just as you practice it, you'll find that sweet spot. And then basically what you want to do to kind of get your tuning right is to start to work on your vibrato. And as you're sliding up, just when you get to the note, you usually want to just kind of rock it back and forth like this. And you can do different speeds, and it really will emulates the sound of singing. You can do a slow vibrato or a fast vibrato, really wide vibrato, or a really subtle one. So those things, just getting your pitch right, adding that little bit of vibrato, really adds a lot of emotion to your playing, really mimics the sound of a human voice. So with slide, there's so many different legends. I mean, starting right, you know, at the beginning, you got like the King of the Delta Blues, Robert Johnson, play these kind of like. Or you got Elmore James. Or you get the more sophisticated sounds of people like Duane Armand. Or the people that get really out there, like Johnny Winter with a pick. Or then you've got people, more subtle players like maybe George Harrison. And their approach would be almost more like singing and playing these beautiful single note lines. So there's a lot of different sounds you can get from the slide. But let's start off with some of the basics. So one thing I'm going to show you, this is a kind of a cool trick that you can use when you've got a slider in your finger, because obviously it's kind of difficult to do some of these big stretches like this. So here's a cool trick where you can play the boogie woogie beat like this. So that little lick right there, all you're doing is you're playing a G note, and then you're kind of flattening your second finger there so that the A string is muted. And then you're just putting your first finger down on the 4th string, fret 2. And when you do that, it creates this sound here, which is the same as this, but it's just a lot easier to play. So you can kind of get, it's a cool, easy technique, and you can just move it up. So you can get that boogie woogie beat really easily. You can play it all night long without getting hand cramp. So here's something fun you can do. Basically play just a 12-bar blues, and then you're going to put some basic slide licks in. And the basic lick's got to start up here on the 12th fret like this. Something like that. You can just kind of play around with that and have a lot of fun with it. So one of the cool things is you can play the scales really easily with the slide in this tuning. So let's start by looking at the major scale. So here's how you play a major scale in this kind of fake open G tuning, like this. So you're going to start on the 12th fret. If you want to go all the way up. So it's basically 2 frets apart the whole way. So you start up here on fret 12 in the key of G. There's your root note. You just walk up the scale. So you're going to go 12, 10, 12, 10, 12, and then keep going up. So it's real nice to play that. Now, here's the other thing that's cool, is you can also easily play the blues scale. So the blues scale sounds just like this. It almost looks the same, but it sounds different. It's like this. So it's right here on the 12th fret again, and there's a subtle difference. So you're going to start on the 4th string, and then go to the fret 10, 12, and then you go to fret 11 here on the B string, and that's your minor note. And then back to 10 and 12. So the basic scale goes. And then if you go all the way up, you go 15 and 17. So the whole thing goes. Now, one of the coolest things about slide is this ability to play the in-between notes. And that's a huge part of blues guitar playing and rock guitar playing. But it's this kind of like vocal-like quality of sliding in and out of notes. And one of the prime places you really do that is in between a minor third and a major third. And that happens right here on between fret 11 and 12. And what you can do there is you can play these blues licks. You can really hone in on that third and play some very soulful licks. So right there, that sound there, I'm kind of in between the 10th and 11th and 12th fret, and there's a lot of play in there. There's a whole world in there. So if you go all the way up to 12, it's your major third. If you go to 11, it's your minor third. And there's an in-between. So right here at the 12th fret, you've got all your major notes, and you've got your minor notes, by getting that 11th fret in there. And then you've got all the in-between notes just by sliding in and out of those notes. And that's a great technique, basically just sliding back and forth. So one time I was doing a gig, and I happened to meet one of the roadies who worked with the Allman Brothers, who toured with the Allman Brothers. So we got talking, and he ended up being this amazing slide guitar player, and we ended up kind of jamming backstage. I remember him saying to me, you know, slide guitar, it's just all a bunch of smoke and mirrors. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And he started showing me all these really killer licks. And this guy was an amazing guitar player, but he was showing me these ideas that Dwayne Allman used. And a lot of it he was showing me comes back and forth just between. And you can just kind of rock back and forth. And when you find that little sweet spot, you can do that all over the place. Is it all just a bunch of smoke and mirrors? No, it's not. It's an amazing way of playing, and it really mimics the human voice. And it takes a great amount of feel and practice, but there is an element to it where you can have a lot of fun just by learning a couple of these basic tricks, and you can sit and you can play with them, and you can get all these amazing sounds. Like that sound, just sliding in and up to the 12th fret. If I was going to do that and get that same effect just with the frets, you'd have to play a lick like, you know, you'd play a lick like that. So you can emulate those same kind of licks. Just by sliding it, it has this really fantastic, exciting sound. Okay, I'll show you a couple of little licks here, a couple of little tricks. So one is just using this little move here where you're playing that little interval. That's all over the place. Like for example, another place you can do that is by toggling between the fourth and the second string like this. Have those kind of sliding sixths. Like that. And if you add those two elements together with the sliding thirds and the sliding sixths, it sounds killer. Almost like Chuck Berry licks. Also, playing these slide bursts sounds really good, like on the 12th fret, or on the 15th fret, or on the 3rd fret. And these chords. Okay, and then another thing is what's great about this open G kind of thing is you can take all your regular pentatonic licks. This is a bit more advanced, but you can take your basic pentatonic licks like this on the middle strings. So you can take those licks like, and you can play those licks with the slide. So you just kind of found those notes. It sounds great when you're playing with your fingers because you can get a lot more finesse. Sometimes when you use a pick, you can kind of dig in and then it creates a kind of tone that will really cut through your mix nicely when you're playing with the band. They're kind of Johnny Winter style licks. Alright, so that's a wrap for our guitar journey today. So remember, just take the time to practice and really kind of hone in your pitch. And don't be afraid to experiment with different styles and techniques, but keep sliding. It's a really fun way of playing. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget, turn it up, and we'll see you next time.